There are moments in maritime history when, the durability of ancient vessels seems almost impossible by today's standards. It is one thing to admire a preserved hull in a museum. It is quite another to realize it once survived decades of salt spray, storms, impact, and long voyages, all without the benefit of modern sealants. Medieval shipbuilders, especially those working along the Norse, Baltic and Mediterranean coasts, used a preservation protocol so effective that, shipwrecks buried for centuries have been uncovered with their timber still intact. The craftsmen who practiced this protocol were certainly not following guesswork. They relied on a series of deliberate steps, slow, patient and honestly, shockingly scientific, that turned ordinary wood into a long-lasting structural material capable of defeating rot, pests and seawater penetration. Today, on Thermal Vault, we're breaking down these steps, explaining why they worked, and, showing how these forgotten methods can still be applied today for anyone interested in traditional woodworking reenactment building or off-grid survival construction. The medieval preservation protocol begins long before construction even starts. One of the first surprising truths is that medieval shipbuilders did not select timber for immediate use. They harvested trees during specific months of the year, often midwinter, when sap flow was at its lowest. After felling, the logs were left intact with branches and bark still attached for weeks or even months. For a modern builder, this step can be replicated by sourcing timber during cool, dry seasons and allowing it to cure slowly under cover, rather than, rushing the drying process. The next phase of the protocol involves controlled drying that, strengthens internal fibres. They avoided stacking planks in open sun and instead stored them in well-ventilated sheds with partial roofing. In many medieval shipyards, supervisors checked timber by tapping it with mallets and listening for specific tonal responses. The heart of the preservation method lies in the resins, oils and tars that shipbuilders infused into the wood. This is the step most history enthusiasts recognize, but often misunderstand. Medieval shipbuilders did not simply smear tar on the outside of ships. They used a layered treatment designed to penetrate deep into the planks. The formula varied between regions, but nearly all relied on three components: a base oil, a resin, and a sealing tar. Linseed oil was especially prized because it polymerized inside the wood as it cured. Resin from pine or spruce was boiled with charcoal and occasionally mixed with animal fats to improve adhesion. Finally, tar, often produced from slow-burning pine roots, was heated and applied hot so that it wickered into the grain as the wood warmed. A practical way to replicate this at home is to heat linseed oil gently and apply it to wood in repeated coats, letting each layer absorb fully. After saturation, a warm mixture of pine resin and a small amount of beeswax can be brushed over the surface to create a flexible, protective film. The final step is a thin layer of wood tar, which can be purchased commercially or created traditionally by burning resin-rich wood under an oxygen-restricted cover. When applied correctly, these layers bond into a waterproofing system that matches the protective qualities of medieval hulls. Shipbuilders relied on heat treatment to permanently repel moisture and pests. One of the most fascinating parts of the medieval protocol is the heat sealing process. The combination yields a material that withstands rain, insects, and long-term exposure far better than untreated lumber. The protocol's final stage focuses on ongoing maintenance and environmental adaptation. Medieval vessels survived for decades, not because they were sealed once, but because crews maintained them seasonally. During winter layups, hulls were scrubbed of barnacles and algae, dried thoroughly and recoated with oil and tar. Each application replenished lost protective layers and strengthened the wood further. Modern enthusiasts restoring traditional boats or building historically inspired structures can follow this routine by applying a fresh coat of oil every few months during the first year, then reducing maintenance frequency once the wood reaches saturation. For practical off-grid use, the same maintenance schedule can extend the life of wooden water barrels, raised bed garden frames, or timber tools. Even a simple application of linseed oil after the rainy season can prevent long-term decay. The medieval protocol proves that preservation success came from patience and process. Ancient shipbuilders didn't rely on chance. Their protocol represented a deep understanding of timber biology, chemistry, and climate. From the timing of harvest to the final coating of tar, every step had a purpose. The rediscovery of these methods gives modern historians, craftsmen, and survivalists a powerful set of tools for protecting wood naturally and effectively. The durability of medieval ships wasn't a stroke of luck. It was craft refined over generations. For more historically grounded techniques and field-tested preservation knowledge, subscribe to Thermal Vault and share this video. It helps us bring more forgotten engineering traditions back into the modern world, one method at a time.